Welcome to Tunisia's Locs, Beauty Tips, and Potpourri, the channel where we get it all in. You can also learn more about the I Am Melanin Magic brand. Thank you for stopping by. I want to take a few moments to share with you some of the successes that the I Am Melanin Magic hair brand is having. Jimmy here, along with his father, have been dealing with hair loss presenting as bald patches and thinning throughout his hair for over 10 years. He decided, by way of his girlfriend, to give I Am Melanin Magic a try. With consistent use of the I Am Melanin Magic Magical Hair Growth Serum, using it 5 days a week for 8 weeks, these are the results that he was able to get. I Am Melanin Magic, and so are you.
Beautiful butterflies and perfect people. Welcome to Tunisia's Locs, Beauty Tips, and Potpourri, also known as the I Am Melanin Magic brand. Welcome to the channel, welcome to the channel, welcome to the channel. Today I want to talk about something that is very important and can be helpful to those who are new to Sisterlocks, okay? Now, you may be new to Sisterlocks. You could be in your first 1 to 3 years, or you could also be a seasoned Sisterlock person and likely still benefit from this video. But what I'm here to give you is some tricks of the trade and some of the things that I learned while having Sisterlocks for a bit over 13 years. So if this looks like a video that you're going to stick around for and you're still here at this point, go ahead and support the video and give back so that you can keep that energy flowing, that give and receive loop flowing. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Show some love. If you're one of my OGs and you always support the channel, just know that I appreciate everything you do. You can also leave some comments in the commentary if you also have some additional tips. What I want to talk about today are some of the things that you may run into or are most likely to run into during your Sisterlock journey that you want to get ahead of if you're new to the journey and you've been doing a lot of research and you think the Sisterlocks are what you want to get, or you've already made the decision to get Sisterlocks and you want to have a little bit of an eye view into some of the things that are likely to come up along the way. Now, while most of what I'm discussing may be likely to come up, there are going to be some things in this list that are most certainly going to become front and center in this journey. Let's go ahead and get into it. First thing I want to talk about is the need to have a backup loctician. When you start out with Sisterlocks, you're so excited. If you're lucky, you're going to love the person that has installed your locks. And so you just foresee your future. You know, you see them being in your future forever. And any number of things can happen with you and your loctician. And it will require that you have a backup. So it's always good once you get your installation, once you go in for the subsequent early appointments, and once your hair begins to lock, to begin to venture out and begin to entertain the possibility of having a backup, a substitute, someone that can fill in should your loctician get sick, should she move, should she get pregnant, should she simply decide that she no longer wants to do Sisterlocks, or should she get so busy that maybe she has to drop some clients and you happen to be the one to get dropped, or even still, if something comes up and you and your loctician are not able to see eye to eye, you want to have a backup. Always do your homework. The second thing that you're going to want to do when you are embarking upon this journey is always inspect what you expect. This is something that was shockingly a surprise to me when I started this channel. The percentage of women who did not inspect what they expected and would just go in, sit down in the chair and trust that individual and the level of expertise that they had and their level of professionalism and credibility and just their way that they operate, their ethical standards, that would simply give them carte blanche over their hair and never pay attention to what was going on when they were in that seat, or even more, never check their hair once they left the seat. Lots of things can go wrong in this journey, and you have as your main advantage catching something early so that you can intervene or you can share your concerns with your loctician. So never ever go in, sit down, and simply take your loctician's word for it that everything is okay. Check your hair when you go home. Pay attention to what is going on with your locks. Notice any areas of concern and communicate with your loctician as often as possible. And hopefully, if you're fortunate like I was, you will have a loctician and even a backup loctician who's very approachable, who's very amenable, someone who seeks to really listen to what your concerns are and to give you positive feedback and help you to feel rested and assured that everything is going well and things are moving in the right direction. So serious. Believe me, things with your loctician can get out of hand really quickly. Things with your hair can get out of hand really quickly, which brings me to my next point. Excuse me. Number 3 is looking out for signs of trouble with your locks. When you have locks, when you have Sisterlocks, when you have Microlocks, when you have small locks, it is important to begin to pay attention very early on once they start to lock and do what they do. And even each time you leave your loctician, begin to pay attention to what is going on with your locks, because not only are you making this journey, but your locks are making the journey and they're on the front lines. And a lot of times, unless you are paying attention, things can get away from you. And then when it finally comes to your attention, you're already in trouble. For example, it is a frequent phenomena with these locks, depending upon the level of care, the rituals that you participate in, who's doing your hair, what you do in between visits, and a litany of other things, to have situations where your locks begin to change and you start to notice breakage or thinning or dryness or scalp issues, and the list goes on. If you're not paying attention to the early warning signs, then your hair can begin to break. Your scalp can become very irritated, which can lead to breakage. Your locks can become super dry, and if you're not mitigating that, that's going to lead to inflammation and also later breakage and so many other things. So pay attention to what is going on with your locks, and as they begin to change throughout the journey, when you have concerns, speak to your loctician. The 4th thing that you're going to want to be aware of is to avoid conditioner if at all possible, with the exception of when you color. Conditioner leaves a heavy residue on your hair that can be difficult to rinse out. And even when you rinse it out, think about it. You may be rinsing for 5 to 10 minutes and think that you have everything out. But as the hair continues to dry, when it's air drying, the dampness will continue to move downward, and as it moves downward, it's leaving traces of or residue from the conditioner and even the products that you may be using on your hair if they're not the best product. And because of that, what can happen is as your hair dries, the conditioner or the product can dry in your hair, and you may not necessarily notice it. It may look a little clear, it may feel a little hard when you initially notice it, but then it'll get harder, and as time goes on, it becomes a part of the lock, and it can be difficult to get out of the lock, and it can be unsightly. It can be very difficult. Similar to the way dandruff can get in the lock, and when you pick it, you see the almost silvery transparent color, and it may look like lint, but it's not lint. You know for sure that it's not any of the products that you're using, but it definitely feels like something else. This is something that you have to be super mindful of, is the conditioner. Pardon me. That brings me to my next point, which is hair color. I absolutely love hair color. Right now, my hair may look dark because the lighting in here is not that great. And you can't see it, but my hair is a brilliant burgundy. This is nothing, this is what this part looks like. This itself is about 2 levels deeper, and it's super intense. In fact, this is the most intense color that I've ever had, and I've been coloring for at least about 10 years. And I've noticed a lot of things, and I've learned a lot of things. This particular color happens to be splat. This is my first time trying it. Super intense, semi-permanent, less harmful, less messy, but I absolutely love it. If I'm able to get this kind of color intensity, like I said, when I go out into the sun or I'm out of this room, it's blazing. It is very beautiful. If you like intensity, those are great colors that won't cause you to have to sacrifice the health of your hair. I've used a number of other colors. The caveat that I want to give you is to avoid bleach at all costs. I don't care what anyone says to you. These locks will break over the long term from putting bleach in them. There may be 1% of people who may not suffer with severe breakage, but wherever that bleach touches, it's going to weaken the hair, and the locks are very thin. It is not worth it. Go with a semi-permanent if you can, and if you feel like you must use color because maybe you want to lighten the hair before you use something like a splat so that it gets very bright. My best experience has been with Vidal Sassoon. Vidal Sassoon, unlike Dark and Lovely, Soft and Beautiful, L'Oreal, and some of the other products, to me, doesn't feel as harsh. Now, they have come out with a lot of other products since I was using that years ago. I think the last time I used it was this past summer when I went to Belize, and I think that was probably going to be coming up on a year in about 3 months. But those colors don't last as long. The color intensity will wash out after the third wash, but you will be stuck with the drying, some of the hair fall, the weakening of the tips of your hair. And if you can get that same color intensity with semi-permanent and then have longer lasting results, which you most likely will, it's worth a try. If you can't get splat, I would say my second choice would be Adore, A-D-O-R-E. It's semi-permanent as well, but it's a lot more messy. The color stays in longer than one of the permanent dyes, but it's not as intense, and it bleeds everywhere, and then it gets on your clothing as well as your pillowcases. Splat is much, 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 much better. So that's something you need to be aware of. If you like blazing colors, if you like brilliance, if you like variation, and you like to change with the seasons, okay? The next thing I want to talk to you about with regard to your locks, the sixth thing I want to bring up to you is the rituals that are associated with Sisterlocks that more than likely you're going to have to participate in that you need to be mindful of. Some of those, I guess you could say, rituals and practices and strong recommendations that will come by way of your loctician are going to be things like getting your retightenings on a regular basis, which are, the retightenings are simply when your hair begins to grow out at the scalp, and you have to go in and they will use the tool, whatever the tool is that they use. It should be the Sisterlocks tool, and they will go in and retighten them down to the scalp. You will have to do that on a regular and sometimes, unfortunately, regimented basis. The other types of recommendations that you will likely hear is that you're going to need to potentially, not in all cases, but you're going to need to be mindful of using oil on your hair. Most locticians, or a lot of them, via the Sisterlocks rhetoric, will tell you or try to discourage you from using oil. I'm totally against that. I've used oil on my hair since day one. My loctician actually recommended I use oil on my hair, and she put oil on my hair because she's a natural hair care specialist. She's a master cosmetologist, and in her mind, our hair needs that extra supplementation. In my mind, it made sense because I needed oil before I got Sisterlocks. Why wouldn't I need oil after getting Sisterlocks? And I've seen too many people's hair that breaks, that begins to thin over time, because the oil will also help to give your hair the nutritional support that it needs, that you are certainly not going to get, but that you most definitely need because of the regimented way in which you have to deal with your hair, the frequent retightenings, the use of the tool, the maintenance of the grit, the tension that is put on the scalp, and so many other things, that your hair needs some extra support. And so without the oil, you are likely to begin to run into problems that are far worse than just the drying. Which brings me to number 7, which is something that is very, very important when you have a Sisterlocks and you're on this journey, is to be mindful of the need to listen to your intuition when something begins to feel like it's not quite right with your hair. I spoke earlier about the need to inspect what you expect, okay? But you have to take that a little further. And if you're feeling as though your hair is thinning, but your loctician hasn't said anything to you about that, and you're feeling that and you're starting to notice, it's a good time to have a conversation with your loctician, open up the lines of communication. Reason being is because When the hair starts to experience stress, it can be difficult to pinpoint. You can be looking at your hair and haven't been looking at your hair for a few years and not quite notice if it's thinning, but you just know something has changed. And you're starting to look at your scalp and you're like, it looks like I'm seeing more scalp. It looks a little thinner than normal, but I'm not sure if this is because of the retightening or if it's something else that's going on. It can be a little bit ambiguous in the beginning, but follow your intuition. If you have concerns about the frequency of the retightenings, follow your intuition. If for some reason you're not feeling 100 with your loctician and you feel like there's an undercurrent and you're not sure if she's going to continue doing your hair, follow your intuition. It is very, very important. Never let anyone, I don't care what their level of expertise is, separate you from your inner guidance. That brings me to number 8. I do not care where you are on this journey. You are going to have to get retightenings. And retightenings are one of the riskier aspects of Sisterlocks because they make us look very beautiful. Most of us like when the hair looks tight. Most of us like to see the grid. Clearly I don't, which is why I now have knotted locks. But because you like all of that and because your loctician is driven to keep the scalp clean in the sense that the parts are respected, the grid is on point, it's tightened so that you're not coming back earlier than what maybe your schedule is, and she wants to give you the new look, and just the fact of wanting to do a good job, there's a sort of a drive to really be vigilant with regard to the retightenings, to the point that oftentimes the retightening schedule, while it may work short term, eventually is going to be something that is going to put too much stress on your hair. If you also have a loctician who uses too much tension, may be heavy-handed and things of that nature, be super, super, super mindful of this. I cannot tell you enough. Determine what the frequency of retightenings will be that will be best for you and work with your loctician. Try your best to avoid a 4, 5, or 6 week retightening. It's very soon. The hair doesn't have enough time to recover. I don't care what they tell you. And while it may be working short term, unless you can look at their hair and they've been getting retightenings that often, beyond 5 to 7 years, don't do it. I don't care if you have to find another loctician. Pay the extra money and get your retightenings on a longer cycle. The entire time I had my locks, with the exception of about the first maybe 2 to 3 or 4 retightenings, I tried to go 10 weeks and I developed lumps. I was too early in the journey. But beyond that, for sure, after the first year, I began to move to a 10-week cycle, and by the time I was done, I was going in every 11 to 12 weeks. Served my hair well. I credit that as one of the reasons why my locks are so thick and healthy, in addition to the use of my synergistic blend, my patented oil blend, which you can get on the I Am Melanin Magic website, which has helped so many sisters here on the channel give their hair the extra strength, resilience, and restore their health, the health integrity of their hair, as well as helped many sisters to regrow hair with the magical hair growth serum, and using that in conduit with the premium oil blend. It's very, very important, because the stress of the retightenings, the stress of maintaining and keeping the grid and forcing the hair to grow according to a certain pattern stresses the hair. The use of the tool, raking through the hair, puts extra friction and wear and tear on the hair. That long term inevitably is going to be a source of great pain for you if you allow that to continue unchecked. Which brings me to the the eighth, the eighth thing that I want to talk about, and that is what may bring you to see the value of becoming a do-it-yourselfer and learning how to lock your own hair and do your own retightenings. If you're someone that's very patient, if you know a little bit about hair and you're not afraid to venture out, it can be a great solution for those people who feel like they don't want to be totally reliant on someone else, or they are not satisfied with someone else, or they've been through a litany of different locticians and simply aren't in a place where they can feel confident anymore that they want to entrust their journey to someone. It is very easy through watching YouTube videos, having a little bit of confidence, and taking a few locks at a time before you go into each retightening and working on those locks until you develop confidence and you can move to different areas. It's also just a good skill to have so that you're not totally dependent on someone else. I believe in self-reliance. God bless the child who's got his own. I don't believe in being caught out there without having the knowledge to do something that is so critical to my upkeep. I don't believe in being out there without having those skills to do it, or at least the know-how, whether I use them or not. I began to retighten the front part of my hair because it's a high traffic area. It's an area of frequent intensity, more than other areas of the hair, and it's one that is prone to breakage and thinning, as is this area. So I began to do that, but even in doing that, I did my own full retightening at least 2 times. Is it something I really wanted to do on a regular basis? No, but is it a sacrifice that was worth it to keep my hair healthy? Most definitely. And now with the knotted locks, I can do a retightening all over in maybe an hour, hour and a half, and it's very easy. These are my tools. I don't need anything else. It's a beautiful journey, but that's not for everyone. So if you have Sisterlocks, consider it. Consider becoming a do-it-yourselfer. You will simply not be sorry. The 9th thing that I want to talk to you about is the fact that Sisterlocks have gone up a lot in terms of the upkeep. The retightenings are likely going to continue to go up until the market will no longer bear excessive prices. People are paying anywhere from about $1 to $125 up to $380 every 4 to 6 weeks. If you can find a great loctician, a beautiful, wonderful, keep a relationship with that person. Keep an open door policy of communication, respect that person as a professional, tip them well. But as you begin to move through the journey, you will find that some of you, not all of you, will not only need a backup, but you'll also need to leave a little space for the reality that more than likely the rates are going to go up. Not just due to inflation, but because as they set the prices higher, the more that the market can bear that and the more that people will bear that, the price will continue to go up. As the demand for the hairstyle continues to spread, they will, in an effort to supply and demand, serve less clients and do less work, which is a natural business principle. You will have to raise your prices so that you bring in, number one, a more selective client, but also you simply have less time. And so your rates, you're able to be more competitive because people have to compete for your service. So the best way to equal the playing field, really, in a matter of speaking, is you have to raise your price out of necessity if you want to stay competitive, if you want to be able to get more for less work. It's a natural business principle that makes a lot of sense based on supply and demand. As you begin to take in more clients, you become more tired, you become more fatigued, you have to deal with more. The risks are more. And so in order to keep a certain amount of income and to also get a better quality of client, someone who's willing to pay for whatever it is, the reason that you are increasing your prices, you may raise your price. And that's a natural thing. Squirrels are back. Pardon me, those doggone squirrels are so destructive. They make holes in the house and they dig in. What can I say? So this is something that you're going to have to expect. If you have a good loctician, treat that person well, respect their time, keep the lines of communication open, bring them a gift every now and then, tip them well and be grateful, because really quality, good locticians can sometimes be hard to find. And so when you find those people who stand behind their work, when you find those people that are courteous, when you find those sisters who actually care about the health of your hair, the best thing that you can do when they take care of you is to take care of them. Be prepared when you have Sisterlocks to be on the lookout for the marrying of locks. The marrying of locks is when a loctician will take 2 locks and combine them and make them into 1 lock. Sometimes they will tell you, but it's been my experience via your anecdotal records here on the channel and your testimonials that many of you have found that your locks have been married at different times and in different quantities without your knowledge. Your average loctician may feel as though she's making a decision that is for the best health of your hair, and she may not think that. It's like a surgeon deciding to give you stitches and you don't want stitches. Well, they're giving you stitches because they feel they know better. The loctician oftentimes is not doing it out of being lazy or malicious. She's doing it because she feels as though this is part of her job to assess the overall health of your hair. And so you may find married locks. If you are told on the front end, it's a wonderful thing. If you are not sure about that or how you would feel about it, having a conversation, a preemptive conversation with your loctician and ask her to let you know when she decides she needs to marry a lock, if she could alert you and see how you feel about it, or just alert you before she does it. And then during that time, you can express how you feel about it. Typically, locks are only married logically when they need to be married, and they need to be married, which is what most people think, which is not the only way to deal with a thinning lock, but they need to be married according to most people when the lock is thinning. To give it more strength and integrity, they marry it with another lock. But what can happen is you can look up, there was one sister who had over, her reduction in locks was above the number of 60 because so many were being married and she didn't realize it until one day after watching a video, she sat down and inspected her hair. She was one of those people that sits in the chair, or that would sit in the chair and not really pay attention to what was going on. So this is very, very important. Have that conversation. Ask to be alerted if your locks are being married, and know beyond a shadow of a doubt, if your locks are being married, the likelihood that you will need to have more married may increase over time, and for sure that means that your hair is thinning or breaking in a particular area, and you should be more concerned about why that is happening. Okay, if you want more information on thinning locks and some of the reasons, take a look at the videos that are coming up in the cards at the end of this video, and you'll have more ideas about what some of the warning signs are that you can look to. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please show some love in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up. If you are looking for or experiencing trouble with your hair already and you have thinning and you want to arrest that situation, go to IamMelaninMagic.com and get the Magical Hair Growth Serum, and then consider pairing that up with the oil that you use on a regular basis to keep your hair strong. Put the Magical Hair Growth Serum only in the problem areas to re-stimulate and help assist in hair growth and building your follicles up. You may also want to pair, if you have a particular problem area, the Magical Hair Growth Serum with the Fearless Follicles, which is a roll-on application bottle of very powerful serum that allows you to rub in a particular area at night before you go to sleep, whereas you use the Magical Hair Growth Serum during the day. Again, it's IamMelaninMagic.com. Thank you so much for listening to the video. If you made it to the end, please write it in the comments, and also let me know what kind of videos you're interested in, and if you have any advice that you think would benefit some of the other sisters that will be listening to the channel and are starting out on their Sisterlocks journey, or a little bit further along and have some pearls of wisdom that they want to share. Give it to me and I'll make sure we talk about it. Lots of love to you. Thank you. I hope that you have a peaceful, prosperous, and productive day. I hope that you are feeling in your power and living passionately, and I hope that your point of attraction is positive. If you are interested in doing inner work and up-leveling to live your best life and gaining clarity and healing emotional and mental blocks, see me over on the Butterfly Transformations channel, and you can participate in the love and the sense of community that we have over there, because we get it in. For services and ways to reach me further in the comments, you can look in the description. You can also go to the I Am Melanin Magic website if you're interested in a reading or an energetic healing or some mentoring or life coaching, which is what my profession is. Then you can also secure those services in the description by contacting me on a multitude of different platforms, websites, and via different channels, okay? Lots of love to you. Thank you again, and have a beautiful day.
If you are not using Melanin Magic hair oil, then what are you using?
Hi, I'm the creator of the I Am Melanin Magic skin and hair care brand.
The I Am Melanin Magic Hair Oil is our premier product. It is the leading high-end supplement for your mane.
It reduces breakage and promotes growth and can be used on all hair types and looks, from straightened hair and microlocks to wigs and protective styles.
It's antifungal, antibacterial, and it's anti-funk, so you know you're protected.
It softens and conditions your hair, and it's anti-frizz too.
Hey guys, so I started using this oil called I Am Melanin Magic since February of this year, and check out the new growth. Like, it's insane. Not only did it help with my new growth, but it smells amazing too.
See the dramatic improvements Denisha has made after not having hair around her edges for 3 years. Tanya's hair had been like this for almost 20 years, and while getting injections. Her doctor said it was scarred and would never grow back. After 4 weeks of using I Am Melanin Magic, this is what she looked like. I Am Melanin Magic did this to Danette's hair after a short time. This is really all your hair needs. It's rich with antioxidants, loaded with growth-promoting ingredients. Look at the growth of my hair. It's amazing. The product speaks for itself. Order yours today and don't delay. Don't delay, purchase yours today.
I am Melanin Magic, and so are you.